Every year, hundreds of bills come out of the Idaho legislature on topics that will impact all our daily lives. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening at the Idaho State House all during the legislative session. Search Idaho Matters wherever you get your podcasts.
The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Happy Friday, March 28th. I'm Troy Oppie. This morning, a federal judge blocked a new state law requiring immigration enforcement the same day that Governor Brad Little signed it into law. Lawmakers are considering a tax credit for in vitro fertilization, a groundbreaking at Ada County's newest sports facility, and are you treeforting this weekend? We have a preview. All that and more right now on The Connector from Boise State Public Radio. A federal district judge yesterday granted a temporary restraining order blocking Idaho from enforcing a new immigration bill. The very same day, Governor Brad Little signed it into law. The ACLU of Idaho filed a lawsuit against House Bill 83, which allows state law enforcement to check for immigration status if a person is suspected of or being detained of a separate crime. Paul Carlos Southwick, legal director at the ACLU, says immigration enforcement falls under federal law.
Any state laws that relate to immigration at all or that conflict with federal law are preempted and are unconstitutional.
Southwick says a judge has been assigned to the case and a preliminary injunction hearing is set for mid-April. The state of Texas passed a similar law 2 years ago. It is on hold, waiting for a ruling in a court of appeals. Idahoans who, quote, adopt an embryo that results in a live birth could get a tax break in the coming years. Here's James Dawson with more on that.
Multiple embryos are typically produced during each cycle of in vitro fertilization, but not all of them get used. Some patients choose to donate those leftover embryos to those who are still hoping to have more children. A bill introduced Thursday would give a $10,000 tax deduction for one of these adopted embryos that results in a live birth. Republican Representative Britt Raybould.
It sends a much-needed message about the importance of families and that we are looking for avenues to help send out the message that we want to help families grow on their own terms.
The bill will not be moving forward during this year's legislative session, but its sponsors say they want to start the discussion before bringing it back in 2026. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
A quick correction to a story which aired yesterday in The Connector. House Bill 96, which prohibits all but a list of specified flags for display by government entities in the state, has not yet reached the governor's desk for his signature, as was reported. The bill was amended prior to passing the state Senate on Wednesday. It goes back to the House for approval of that change, which specifically permits school or university flags to be displayed as part of the bill. The State Board of Education announced Thursday the final member of its search committee to replace departing Boise State University President Dr. Marlene Tromp. Boise State criminal justice professor Lisa Bostaff will represent faculty on the 8-member committee, which also includes 2 state board trustees, community and business sector leaders, and university leadership. Subcommittees were also announced Thursday. Smaller groups, including at least 1 member of the search committee, and additional representatives from Boise State staff, students, alumni, and athletics. Tromp said last week she was departing Boise State this summer to become president of the University of Vermont. Morale on the campus of North Idaho College is up, and faculty have officially now withdrawn their votes of no confidence issued against 5 members of the previous NIC Board of Trustees. Idaho Ed News reports the faculty vote follows similar moves by NIC's staff and student groups. New members of the board have worked to repair relationships damaged by their predecessors and salvage the school's accreditation. The Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities has NIC on probationary status currently. That's an improvement from the show cause status previously, when the commission demanded NIC show improvement in specific areas in order to keep its accreditation. Resolving issues that led to the votes of no confidence was one of those areas. Financial ratings agency Moody's has also recently improved NIC's debt rating to stable, according to Ed News. Employee recruitment, student enrollment, and revenues at North Idaho College are all up, according to university leaders. County officials and the private group bringing professional soccer to the Treasure Valley put ceremonial shovels in the ground yesterday at Expo Idaho, breaking ground on what will be a multi-use stadium facility on the site of the former LeBois horse track. Boise Pro Soccer was granted a 30-year lease by Ada County for the site. The group will develop the fields and make improvements to the grandstands and turf club facility, according to the agreement. Development will include multiple soccer fields for the pro men's and women's teams, which will compete in the United Soccer League, the USL, plus community fields for soccer, baseball, and softball. Tickets for the men's professional soccer season starting this time next year go on sale next week. The women's pro team will take the pitch for the first time in Boise in late 2027. If your phone buzzed late Thursday night with an Amber Alert, you should know that police in Nampa have canceled that Amber Alert. They say a missing 12-year-old girl was found safely. Caldwell officials say a deceased adult male was found in a canal near Lake and Dearborn Thursday afternoon. That's just north of Ustick Road off Caldwell Boulevard. Police are investigating. The victim has not yet been identified. A power outage shut down Europe's busiest airport last week. Our George Prentice talked to managers of the Boise airport to see how Idaho's busiest airport has prepared to avoid similar delays.
We start with that breaking news.
Overnight travel chaos for people flying in and out of one of the world's best-known airports.
The busiest airport in Europe is closed for the day after a nearby power outage.
This month's outage at London's Heathrow disrupted travel across the planet, which led some travelers to question the resiliency of power infrastructure at our regional airports.
The Boise airport has 3 backup generators that are tested quarterly.
This is Boise Airport Communications Manager Jennifer Kronberg.
So in the event of an electrical power shutoff, the airport's core functions would continue to operate, likely with some reduced capacity.
Kronberg adds that there's also opportunity to expand power infrastructure with the airport's current $42 million expansion.
And as part of our Concourse A development and terminal improvement project, we are looking for additional ways to increase redundancy and efficiency with all of our utilities.
A 2023 analysis by the U.S. Government Accounting Office said there are about 50 power outages at U.S. airports each year. George Prentice, Boise State Public Radio News.
Are you Treeforting this weekend? The 13th edition of the multi-day, multi-venue music festival is happening across downtown Boise this week. Our Julie Luquetta drew the short straw and has this preview of the Treefort Music Festival.
With stages set up anywhere from Juliet Davis Park to basement bars and street corners across town, the 5-day music/yoga/podcast/comedy event is really focused on more than just concerts.
It's such a big choose-your-own-adventure sort of experience.
That's director Eric Gilbert. His band, Floating Witch's Head, played Treefort Music Hall on Wednesday. The event has drag performances, readings, food tastings, art exhibits, films, and free options for the public. The goal, Gilbert says, is to generate interest in all that the town has to offer.
The festival operates as a festival discovery, not just for artists, but also for the downtown businesses and the experience of Boise in general.
The Boise Visitors Bureau reports last year's Treefort brought in an estimated $11.2 million. The festival will run until Sunday night. Julie Luquetta, Boise State Public Radio News.
The music ending that story, if you're curious, is by the band Pedal Party. They played Wednesday night at the Shrine Social Club. A quick programming note before we run out of here on this Friday. George Prentice will be back hosting this podcast again on Monday. He's returning to the morning edition chair after a long absence. We are glad to have him back. I will happily be returning to my afternoon hour shift on All Things Considered. You can find me on the radio weekday afternoons. Thanks for listening to this podcast and supporting us as we've been getting off the ground the last few months. When you like and subscribe, it helps other people find the podcast too. Go make it a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll catch you on the radio, and George will be back with you this coming Monday.